Welcome to another of VA Worldwide's walkthroughs for IBM i2's Analyst notebook. In this walkthrough, we're going to look at one of the analysis features called List Items. We find this from the Analysis menu, and it's here on the left, and it says List Items, and if we hover over the button, it gives us the shortcut, which is F11. And this is a way of showing items in the chart in a tabular view. So once we select List Items, all of the information on our chart is now represented in a table, and there are two options. We can look at the entities and the links. And very often when you use this function, you'll forget which one you're in and it gets a little confusing. But with a bit of practice, you'll remember that you need to monitor which tab you're looking at, entities or links. And depending on the type of chart, information will be stored in different places. In this particular chart, it's a financial transactions chart, so a lot of information has been stored on the link. So things like the transaction amounts, the dates and times will be stored on the link itself. So when we look at the interface of List Items, we can see the tabular view, and these are columns, and most of the time they're picked up as a default. But to look at the columns, we can click at the bottom here, the columns button, and this will show us the various columns that are available to us. Now, the general column shows most of the common things you would see for an entity. Remember, we're in the entities link at the moment. And if there are attributes on the chart, then you can see which ones are here. And we'll come back to this shortly, but the analysis attributes gives us a whole heap of new analytical functions that we can utilize, particularly in things like financial transaction charts. So the ones that are ticked are showing in List Items at the moment, and I can choose to show other columns here, and in the analysis attributes, which we'll come back to, we can choose to show other columns listed here. So by looking around at the entities, we can see there is the label value, which is repeated in the identity, the type of entity that's selected, semantic types, and how it's represented. Now, there are text blocks in the chart, so we can ignore those at the moment. On the Links tab, we can see here that we have the label value, which in this case is the value of the transaction, and we can do sorting by column. So I can click on the column, and it will change the order of the values of the label. In this case, it's got the highest value at the top. And if I select that, this is one of the values of using List Items when you've got a very busy chart and you're looking for something specific. So in this case, I want to find the transaction that has the largest transaction amount. So once I select this in List Items, you'll see it highlights in blue. And then on the right-hand side, I click OK, and that will automatically highlight the transaction on the chart itself, and if I fit the selection to window, it will focus straight away, and we can see $50,000. So anything that's selected in List Items, and I could select, say, the top 4 and click OK, and now each of those will be selected on the chart, and you can see here there's transactions going across. The other way to work this, if I click somewhere in an open space on the chart to deselect those, I can choose a particular transaction of interest. So in this case, I might choose to look at this one in particular, and going back to List Items, we can see now that the one I selected on the chart is now highlighted in List Items. So it allows you to go back and forth and look at List Items using different ways. So you can select either in List Items and go back to the chart, or you can select in the chart and then open List Items and it will be highlighted. So if I go back to the columns now, and I may wish to choose some more information that I'd like to use for analysis. So the analysis attributes allow me to do that. And there are various ones to have a look at depending on the information you have. But for example, I may wish to see day of week name, which will give me the day of the week of the transactions. So clicking OK, and I'll see the column to the right now, and it says day of week name, and I can, by doing a sort, I can select various things. So for example, if I'm interested in all transactions on a Friday, I can select those together and click OK, and here you'll see that those transactions on a Friday are now highlighted on the chart. So that's a quick look of list items. We'll come back to that more with analysis attributes in another of our featured videos. And if you've ever got any questions, please contact us here at VA Worldwide.